Notability is another one that just has so many purposes to me. If we're thinking about an individual who may be going into post-secondary education or a workplace environment where they're going to have meetings and the information is really important that they need to remember from those meetings, or they're going to be taking phone calls and it's going to be difficult for them to write down what the person is saying and remember what they said afterwards. That can be really important in a job. Notability has so many different functions and benefits that I've used it for so many different reasons with clients. Here you see it set up for classes. So I have reading, math. If I tap on science, you see that folder opens up. It says science at the top. Or this could be set up for jobs, workplace environments, meetings, etc. Very quick and easy to add a new subject. Just tap on the plus. Type in my subject. And also you can color code. So if we go into editing, tap next to a particular folder, you can see that you can color code this, password protect it, etc. Sometimes those color codes are really important, as we know. Sometimes the color coding for particular tasks or particular classes can be really beneficial. If I want to take a new note, I'm going to tap on the icon in the top right-hand corner. It looks like a pencil on paper. Grab my stylus out of my bag real quick. One of the first things that I do, the top right-hand corner, what looks like a wrench, I choose my paper. Now this particular app, as I mentioned, was the one that Laura used to remember one-step and two-step equations. But it's also really beneficial if they need to remember anything that's difficult for them to comprehend and retrieve later. So you're going to see the recording feature in just a minute. So I can set a particular background color paper. I like to put a little contrasting color. I can also choose lines, which is really great for someone who needs that guidance for lining it up, smaller lines, larger lines. Graph paper, not only for graphing, that could be in class or it could be part of work that they may need to graph out particular information, but also those who may have difficulty lining up numbers, if it's a number task, because they can use each block for a number for writing their number in. And again, you can make that larger as well. Now notice that you can choose a black background and white on top or yellow on top. So again, for individuals who may be low vision, this is nice that you can color code this specifically for them visually. I'm going to keep it on plain. And now I'm going to turn on the audio recording by tapping on the microphone. And I'm going to choose handwriting first. Now if I tap on here, you notice I can change the color, I can change the thickness. I'm choosing to use a stylus. Many adaptive styluses out there. I have some who have difficulty with the typical stylus. We've put a pencil grip on it. There's one called the Ergo Grip that comes with a pencil grip. There's some phenomenal product called Instamorph. Anyone use Instamorph? Yeah? Just beads that you warm up and you can form into any shape for anything, to make a handle, to make a pencil grip. It's really great stuff. It's available on Amazon. But there's also bendable styluses. I'll pull some out later during the break. There's styluses where you hold onto the ball at the top. So there's many adaptive styluses out there if you need that. Or they could use their finger, but typically using a writing utensil is beneficial if they are going to handwrite. So it's been recording me for quite a long time. Let's say I'm on a phone call with the client and they say something important that I need to go back to. So I'm just going to put a P there because they said something that began with the word P. I might highlight it. I can change the highlight color. For Laura in particular, like I said, she was doing a math problem step by step and recording it so that she would remember, how did I do this when I was doing it on paper with the teacher, with someone who sat next to me. Oftentimes we're sitting down with a learner and showing them on paper, and then they go back home or wherever they're going to study and they forget what we told them. But if they have something like this, they have it recorded, they can go back to it. And they don't have to write everything down, especially if writing is difficult for them. Now, another great option is the plus, and then you can take a photo. So I'm going to just put my microphone down and take a photo real quick. Choose take a photo. I'm really just going to take what's in front of me here. and then use photo. So if Laura was in a class or in a meeting, she could take a picture of something that someone might have written up on the board, especially if it was a math problem, and pull in the entire picture. Now you can move this picture, you can write over top of it, and you can also type. So if your particular client is faster at typing, you can choose to type as it's recording instead of handwrite or alongside of it. And you can see that you could also pull in web clips, videos, particular videos that might be associated with something that they're learning or that they're trying to comprehend. One of the things that Laura was doing with it this past week is they set up all new colored tags for sizes in TJ Maxx, and she had to learn all the new sizes where she was going to be putting clothes back on the rack. So we took a picture of the clothing rack with the color beads, and we had a low-tech system, or light-tech system I like to call it, where we were color matching the beads. And then we're also practicing it in Notability with the recording. And that, again, that multi-sensory approach, hands-on and the audio and visual, is what helped Laura put it into her long-term memory. And that's really important to think about. It doesn't always have to be technology. You can combine that. And we pulled in a video of her hanging the clothes on the rack, because one of the tasks that was difficult for her to do is to find a shirt that looks just like the one that someone didn't want in the dressing room. And then if it was size 10, she had to realize that she had to put it between 12 and 8 if it was ladies. And that, was something she had to work on. So we took pictures, we took videos, we practiced that in Notability, and that was something that we did last week, and she said that she has improved. Her transition coordinator said that she has improved as far as her task analysis goes.
Question?
Yes, question?
Real quick, if someone takes a picture with that app, can I access that picture later, separately from the app?
Yes. So if we want to share this, for example, let me put the keyboard down. First of all, the photo is saved in your photos. And then the little icon that looks like a square with the arrow pointing out of it, you can send a copy of this note, either just the note or the note and the recording, to anyone else. And the person on the other end doesn't have to have Notability, but they will hear the recording with just the free Adobe Reader. So this has been used by many teachers who are trying to teach several learners, maybe a group of learners, and they do it in Notability and then send that recording to all of them. But if they do have a device with Notability, it will play back step by step the audio, which is nice. It syncs to the notes, which I'm going to show you next. So I stopped the recording, and I'm going to play back the recording and watch what happens when I tap on my notes. So if a particular individual is using this for recording, they don't have to write everything that is said, but they can mark simply when something important is said and then go back and listen later and add to their notes. Or they can mark simply where it's something important and just tap on that instead of having to hit rewind or fast forward. They can really get right back to what it is that was important that they need. Question? Mike, yes.
So with programs like this, I've noticed that, and it's probably a limitation of the device, the quality of the audio isn't all that great, especially if the teacher or speaker is farther down the room. One way I've accomplished getting over that is using like an exterior mic, like a shotgun style directional mic has been helpful, or you can do like a wireless lapel mic or something like that.
Absolutely. Thank you for that suggestion. And I do have one client also who's using earbuds that have the built-in microphone, so that has helped to improve the quality for audio recording. Thank you for that. Another one? Yes?
Is it possible to use images that you screen cap?
Yes. So if you take a screenshot of any picture, it is automatically saved to your photos. And if you tap photo, it's going to open right up to the photos that you have already saved. So if you take a screenshot or a picture with the iPad that's already saved, that you can pull in absolutely from your photos. Again, I have another particular client that did get permission while on phone calls to be able to start the recording, type a few important things as she was having that call. So she puts the caller on speakerphone because it's really difficult for her to remember all of that information at the end of the phone call. But if she can type a few notes and have that recording and go back later, she's making sure that she gets that information from the caller. And so that's been approved for one of my particular clients, and that's been really helpful for her. So various ways that you can use this particular tool, and again, on the iPhone or the iPad mini or the full size. Any other questions on Notability? There are a couple other apps that are similar to it. Audio Note, fewer bells and whistles if you don't need as many features, and also Note Talker. So you can see if someone needs just very simple, clean interface, and they're going to be audio recording, bookmarking, and wanting to get back to something important later. Big middle button is record. To the left-hand side, they can take a photo to pull in if they need to. To the right-hand side, that's a bookmark. So hit that bookmark every time something important is said. You can label that bookmark by typing into it and then go back to it. So sometimes you just need something a little bit more simple on a device, and Note Talker works on all devices, Android as well. Has anyone used Seeing AI yet? Yeah. Oh, nice. Quite a few of you have heard of it. Is that all my AT specialists raising their hand? So Seeing AI, pretty recent, but really pretty great as far as instant OCR and text-to-speech. Put out by Microsoft, and it is free. So really love free tools that work efficiently. And there is a lot of free that is high quality. With Seeing AI, again, I'm going to put my microphone down next to the document that it's going to read.
Short text. Contract and schedule year. Asbestos services. Home educate. Contract and schedule year. Assistive Technology Services. K-12 and post-secondary education, as well as transition to employment and access to the community.
Very accurate. On the fly.
Day or full day. Contract and schedule. Contract.
You can do a document,
Assistive Technology Services.
a product, a person. Just having a hard time stopping it there. Question?
Is there a less robotic voice that reads?
In
for that
Seeing
one?
AI, I haven't been able to change the voice yet. Has anyone else played with the voices in the settings? Not so far, but I'm sure that's something that they will add to it over time.
Does the voice slow down, or is that the speed that it works at?
That is the speed. Okay. Yep, I haven't found any way to change that yet. That's a really great question and a really great suggestion for the app developer, Microsoft, because they really are competing in the market now for accessibility products. So if you want it just read immediately, the short text does that. So again, when we think about a document on the fly, my colleagues who are completely blind use this to read their menus and things like that when we're out in public after doing a presentation or any other document that they don't have in digital format. The document will actually save the document so that you can use it later and have that read out loud as well. Products, and it does person identification, which is really fun. I did this with a few teenagers during one of our trainings, and it can help with identifying a person that might be in the room if they don't have, if they're not able to see their face or their expressions. So maybe you're at a party or a gathering or a meeting and you want to know who may be around you. You can use earbuds, of course, with it. But once you've taken a picture and have it trained to who that is, it's really good at recognizing. Or it can just say, young woman, age 50, wearing a green sweater, things like that. So a couple different ways to be able to use it. And describing the scene and color. I haven't found the handwriting recognition to be great, but not the main purpose that I have clients using this for. So as far as accuracy for OCR, I find it to be pretty accurate on the fly, very accurate, honestly, on the fly, without having to convert it. So we have some apps where we need to do the conversion first, and then it will read it. And this is just instant, without conversion. Just hover over the text. Now, as far as making accessible documents, so we have worksheets, we have handouts, we have work documents and memos that are handed to our individuals who need to have that read out loud. And how do we make that accessible really quickly and low cost? So two apps combined that I use. The first one is free. It's called Adobe Scan. I'm sure many of you have tried so many scanning apps or used scanning apps yourself to create PDFs. But we know that when we use those apps to take a picture of a document, it's an inaccessible PDF. We can't type on it. We can't have it read out loud. We can't do those things that we want to be able to do with it. So the next two apps I'm going to show you allow you to do all of those things. So Adobe Scan. The icon at the top there looks like a blue and black square with a camera. Oh, see if I can sign in with my Google quickly. Oh, geez, we have to put all of that in. Usually it just connects right away. I don't want to sign in. Let's see with my Adobe. I may connect to another iPad real quick if this one is pulling up quicker on it for you, because that's never bounced me out before. Maybe it was the internet. No, that's doing the same thing. All right, we may have to skip that step. Adobe Scan, let me just see if it will get to my documents. No, it won't get to my documents. Over the break, I'll make sure I sign in so that I can show it to you after the break. But I'll move on to step two. So Adobe Scan, what I like about it is typically iPad certainly on its own or iPhone on its own, scan a picture. And what it has is a blue screen that it detects the text and not the photos. And it just detects the text. So even someone with a visual impairment, it's very easy for them to use because they don't have to figure out where the text is. It detects it for them and automatically takes the picture. Or you can turn that off so that you are manually in control of taking the picture. And there's a few different iPad stands that I use or iPhone stands to help them if they don't want to have to hover and they want to have it in a stand to take the photo. Once you take the photo, it's very quick to do the instant OCR. So it does it automatically. As soon as you take the photo, it does the OCR, that optical character recognition, and recognizes the text, and then offers you the share button. And with the share button, you pull it into Google Drive or another app. And the app that I typically have them pulling into, there's two, Claro PDF Pro and or PDF Expert. This one is Claro PDF Pro. Just going to get rid of some of the text here. So take a picture with Adobe Scan, pull it into Claro PDF Pro. Now Claro PDF Pro does have the option for you to take a photo and do the conversion as well. And you get about 600 of them for free. The OCR is almost as good as Adobe Scan. So I do have some clients just using Claro PDF Pro. When they run out of the 600, if they don't want to pay for them, they use Adobe Scan. So it's a free option. On the top left-hand side, what looks like a folder, you can see Open From. That can be anything. Google Drive, Documents, wherever they typically save documents, Box, there's several, Dropbox, anywhere they're going to save those documents they can open it from. Documents are already stored that they've already taken, so let me tap on my documents and you can see there's a few there, opinion paper, scans that I've done with Adobe Scan, number patterns. I'm going to keep a copy of main idea worksheet open. And you see the third option is photo to PDF. If you do photo to PDF, it'll prompt you to open up your camera, or you can pull in a photo you've already taken a picture of. So if you've already taken pictures of documents ahead of time, you can do that. If you didn't pull it in from Adobe Scan, which does the OCR, so you don't have to convert it, if you didn't pull it in with Adobe Scan, this is the time that you would convert it. So if you had taken a picture with just Claro and you didn't use another app like Adobe Scan, you can see Convert PDF is built in here. And that'll take a couple of seconds. You do need access to the internet to convert it. You don't need access to the internet to use this app afterwards, but you do need access to Wi-Fi or the internet in order to convert it. Once it's converted, it'll have you name it. So this is just called Main Idea Worksheet. A few of the things that you can do now, as soon as you have this document, certainly the reverse pinch. Notice I can zoom in if I need larger text. Built into the iOS device, I can choose Invert Color. And now there's Classic Invert. Classic Invert means it will invert the text but not the pictures. Again, really nice. It's not changing what the photos look like, but it is inverting the font, the text for them. It's really difficult for anyone who absolutely needs high contrast, white on black or yellow on black. Really difficult for them to be able to read typical documents or books or anything that they need access to. And for us to try and print it out, I know some educators K through 12 are still doing that, to try and print it out in high contrast when all they do is need it in digital. And then they have that accessibility feature built in. It's really significant. Not only my clients who have a visual impairment, but those with cortical visual impairment, CVI, thank goodness in our area it's being diagnosed more prevalently because we have TVIs, teachers of the visually impaired, who are now diagnosing it and trained to diagnose it because a typical eye doctor can't, because it's not damage to the eye. It's happening neurologically. And I have clients, younger and older, who don't realize that they have CVI, but they know there's something different and something wrong because it changes for them. Whether it's every few minutes or every hour, it's visually changing and difficult for them to access that text. And when I show them either on a laptop, which I'll show you afterwards, or on an iPad or device, the high contrast, I typically get that aha moment where they're like, oh my gosh, I can see that now. And it's that simple change in text that makes such a difference, which is incredible. So even if you're not sure, and those of us, when we think about UDL, Universal Design, our eyes get tired at night. We like the high contrast because it's easier to read if we happen to have to read a lot. So you have the document, make it large, make it high contrast, and you can have this read out loud.
Main idea, directions. Read each passage and ask yourself, what is the author doing in this paragraph?
Now this text-to-speech you can change. In the settings, you can change the voice name. Again, I have Ava chosen for this particular app. You can change the speech settings, so you can make it faster or slower. You can change the mode. I have it read sentence. The highlight color, many to choose from. And then also on the bottom, I typically turn on speak on tap, speak from the tap sentence, and I usually have stop after sentence on. I had a particular client recently who wanted it to continuously read and keep going through the document. But you can see if I go back now after stop after sentence,
Read each passage and ask yourself, what is the author doing in this paragraph?
so if they want to have the next sentence read, then they would tap on the next sentence. And oftentimes they want to be in control of that because, you know, sometimes there's just questions and then they need to process, or there's information and then they need to process, and they don't want it to have it continuously read. But there is the play and the stop button at the bottom as well. In addition to having it read out loud, they can edit this or fill this in, and really a lot of accessibility features not only built into the app, but in a combination of apps that I'm going to show you. So the icon that again looks like a little pencil on paper in the top left-hand corner next to the folder. This brings up your toolbar. Now here's one of those examples that I wanted to show you. If I do the reverse pinch, the text is larger on the handout or the document, but the icons at the top left stay small. So if I need that additional zoom, 3-finger double tap, and I can increase the zoom size on here as well. And everything that's in this window is active. Any icon that I touch while this window is over it is active. So now I can particularly see those smaller icons that I might not have been able to see before. And right now I'm going to choose the pen. You can also choose your color, turning off the zoom window. So I can change the color and I can change the thickness. So again, oftentimes when we're writing with the stylus, it might be a fat bottom. There are a lot of great fine point styluses out there now, and with any typical stylus in most of the apps, you can change the thickness of the color line. Maybe you want it thicker, maybe not. And you can change the color. So sometimes some task that they may have to do is drawing observations, and they may not want to write in just black or one particular color ink, so I like that you can change the color because they might be drawing observations depending on what the task or the activity is. So now I can handwrite. It's going to be a little bit messy at this angle. I can certainly put numbers here. I can fill this in. Again, I can change the thickness of the line. If I make a mistake, I tap on the eraser, and then I just use my stylus or my hand to erase. I can also choose the T for typing and tap where I want to begin typing. And now here's where even more accessibility comes in. For an individual with a physical disability, cognitive disability, difficulty with spelling, difficulty with typing or handwriting, you can certainly speak into this using the microphone. Speak my answer. Once the text is in here, you can move it. So if you didn't get it right on the line, you can increase the size. You can edit it. You can have that read out loud. Does that say exactly what I want it to say before I make it my final answer or my final text within this document? Tap on the T, tap where I want to begin typing. If speech to text is not the feature that they need, but rather word prediction, they need support with either typing faster because physically they are slower, or because they have difficulty with spelling or grammar, word prediction can be a very powerful tool. They can use an additional keyboard, a third-party keyboard. So this is the built-in keyboard for the iPad, of course. If we have learners who pull in a tactile keyboard using Bluetooth, many different tactile keyboards that you can connect wirelessly through Bluetooth in the settings. This is an example of a large print high contrast keyboard, tactile, that they could connect and be typing. They can see it better. These are available in all colors, as you can imagine. But you can have an alternative on-screen keyboard. You download them from the App Store, just like you do any other app. You allow them in your keyboard settings. And if you want to use a different keyboard other than this one, you see now the globe is to the left-hand side of my microphone. When I tap on the globe, these are all the alternative keyboards that I have downloaded. You won't see these unless you download them. If you do download them, you can use them, of course. I'm going to show you Keyboard. Nice high contrast, larger keys. I've chosen to color code the vowels, and I've chosen to make the enter and the backspace yellow, or the shift rather. In your settings for Keyboard, you can choose any color you want. It can be a blue background and yellow letters. Literally any color. You don't have to have color-coded vowels. And any buttons can be color-coded. So even if you're teaching someone to type. Yes, question?
Could you spell the name of that
Keeble,
keyboard?
K-E-E-B-L-E. They have another one that's similar. If you K-E-E-B-L-E. Keeble keyboard. They have a similar one called Keedogo, K-E-E-D-O-G-O, both made by the same app developer. So you'll see those if you pull it up. Now you can also change the size of the word prediction. I have it on the largest, so this can be smaller. Many different options in the settings of the particular keyboard. This one is called Read and Write. If you're familiar with Text Help and their product Read and Write, this is Read and Write for the iPad. It is also word prediction. Bless you. What I like about this word prediction is it predicts phonetically and contextually. Phonetically, what may I be trying to spell that's difficult? I'm going to put in the first couple of letters and do my best, and then I'm going to try and use what's in my prediction to spell the word. Contextually, if I start writing about a particular topic like baseball, words about baseball are going to start to populate. So it can really help with vocabulary for an individual who may not think of that word that they need. Word retrieval is really hard. If they start writing about a particular subject, the word prediction is going to be predicting based on that and helping them with that. The other feature that I like about this, certainly you can have color-coded vowels, and this color can change. You can change the theme. You can also turn off color-coded vowels. They don't have to be color-coded. But the other feature I like is that oftentimes we have individuals who now they have this word prediction, but they have no idea which word they want until they hear it first. And they don't want to make that mistake. They don't want to have to delete. So you can tap on these words first to hear it.
Typical. Tyson. Tyrol. Typical.
And when I decide that's the word I want, I know that's the word I want because I heard it. I can choose swipe or double tap to put it into my document. There is also the play button for text-to-speech. So if they're in a document, an actual Word document or a Google Doc or whatever document app they're going to use on the iPad for writing, they can write a couple sentences or a paragraph and then have it read out loud, make sure that is exactly what they want to say before making that their final document. So great for editing purposes. Remember, these keyboards will pull up wherever they are on the iPad. I happen to be in Claro PDF Pro so that I can use it to complete this document, but it will work on the internet, Google Docs, Word Doc, anywhere they are, they can use these additional keyboards. Email, text messaging. Swift keyboard, a particular user who uses this with a stylus and another with their finger. Physical disability, it's really difficult for them to lift their finger off of the keyboard, so this makes it much faster and does also have the word prediction. So I'm going to swipe between letters. So you can see that it pulls up the word prediction and also types the word for them. Swift. It used to be swipe. So S-W-Y-F-T. I believe it's spelled with the Y, but it could be an I.